Conventional emotional regulation often relies on dialectical behavior therapy, a framework of social rules and verbal exercises. It is built to guide the mind towards a middle path through compromise and conversational logic. But for those with high intellectual potential or hyperphantasia, this model often fails. These minds process reality through vivid, high-velocity internal simulations that simply contain too much data to be compressed into linear verbal rules. When these complex thoughts are forced into rigid structures, the resulting friction turns emotional energy into a bomb. It's an explosive release of pressure discharging into a vacuum, lacking any channel for constructive expression. Standard therapeutic language isn't merely unhelpful for this type of consciousness. It lacks the necessary architecture to contain its volume and speed. This suggests a different approach. What happens if we stop treating interpersonal effectiveness as a matter of feelings and start treating it as a high-level structural engineering problem? This whiteboard provides the schematic for that shift. It's a mapping of a topological phase space, a visual definition of the literal physics of a mind. Instead of following traditional behavioral scripts, the creator has translated cognitive processes into a personalized system of mathematics and topology. This functions as a sovereign system. It is a bespoke framework designed to handle massive data loads without losing structural coherence. By making this pivot, the chaotic vulnerability of an emotional state is transformed into a measurable, controllable schematic. The system begins with the first major variable, the external environment. The positive and negative charges inside this square map the outside world as a matrix of probability and environmental friction rather than a collection of social interactions. Opposite the environment is the self, the system's second primary variable. This grid of symbols and recursive loops models the self not as a fixed identity, but as an active processor that is constantly updating its own data states. Treating the self and the environment as distinct datasets changes the nature of an emotional event. It turns a reactive crisis into a diagnostic process, where each variable can be measured and balanced independently. This interaction is processed along the phenom axis. It starts at the base with possibility, a chaotic cloud of unfiltered data points. This data is pushed upward through the threshold of education, representing therapy or learning, until it reaches a state of accordance. The transition from these raw possibilities to a stable outcome is governed by the core equation, dx over dy equals 1. This represents a one-to-one translation between an internal change of state, the intent, and the external environment, the action. Reaching this ratio brings the system into phase 1. It means the internal force of an idea is matched exactly by its external execution, creating a stable platform that allows high-velocity thinking to manifest as coherent movement. When the system hits phase 1, the sensation is intense. The energy previously wasted on fighting internal friction is suddenly liberated. The creator calls this a kinetic celebration, a state of unyielding, non-stop flight, where thoughts accelerate smoothly without resistance. This is zero-entropy navigation. The uncontrolled energy of the bomb has been channeled into a highly calibrated, high-performance engine. The whiteboard serves as the flight controller, providing the hull integrity needed to handle the mental G-force of these thoughts without the system tearing itself apart. This state of high-velocity flight stands in stark contrast to the linear, standard world, which can often feel like a source of paralyzing confusion. But high-velocity minds do not need to shrink themselves to fit into standard molds to find stability. Instead, they can build custom logic bridges, calculated progressions into the future that allow them to interface with the world on their own terms. By engineering these sovereign systems, it becomes possible to transform the exhausting friction of daily existence into the unbridled velocity of flight.